Right, we're back with another episode. We've been meaning to make a video on this for a little while, and considering Imran has just got back from the London protests, we thought why not? This would sort of be the best time to do it. It's quite a serious little topic, but we're going to just like talk about our opinions and what we think of the whole situation that's going on currently. So yeah, Imran, do you want to kick it off with how did the London protests go?
It went well. So, for those of you who don't know or might be watching this at a later date, um, the death of George Floyd in America sparked pretty much outrage throughout the world, and it's given a lot more notice towards the Black Lives Matter movement. And on Saturday and Sunday, when was it? It was last Saturday and Sunday, basically. There was protests in Parliament Square and protests in outside the American Embassy, in which I attended both of them, and it was quite something. Um, I mean, first time it was my first protest ever. I'd never gone to a protest before, and especially doing one right now with the current sort of climate in terms of the pandemic, it was a bit scarier because the risk was a lot higher, basically. Yeah, I mean, everyone had their signs out. Everyone was talking about it. There was people who had microphones doing chants and screaming to the top of their lungs, including myself. And it was a very liberating place to be. I think it gives sort of a great platform to speak about Black issues or people of color's issues as towards the sort of systematic racism that happens, and as well as like the police injustice that happens not only in America but in this country as well. I mean, with my personal beliefs, I think that there is a lot to do in the world at the moment, and I mean, obviously, America is very heavily affected by systematic racism that have come from 400 odd years of constant oppression, where they haven't really, although there have been social justice movements in the past, they haven't quite fully gotten to the point of, I suppose, equality in that sense. You still have police injustice that happens constantly. You still have this list of names that keep on growing of people who have unjustly died at the hands of the police. And not just in the US is that happening, it's also happening here. I mean, the systematic sort of, I choose my words very carefully here because I don't want to mess this up. And I'm probably not the best person to talk about this, but I'll try my best. People who lived in Grenfell House. I'm sure we've all heard of that tragedy where the whole place burnt down. Justice still hasn't been served to them. No one's been held accountable. No one's compensating them for losing their house, losing their possessions. No one's really fought for that issue, and it's kind of got neglected and put in the back mirror. And there's other cases of individuals who've been unfairly treated by the police, and sort of, I don't know, there's a lot of them out there, basically. And this weekend was a really as lovely as it can be, but it was nice to see everyone out protesting, basically. Sorry, I've waffled on for quite a bit. But what about you two? What are your opinions on the Black Lives Matter protests and Black Lives Matter movement?
Support it fully. I mean, I think a lot of people are very uneducated on it all, including myself. And I think this time is spreading the message a lot more to everyone and getting it out there that these things do exist, and that maybe people kind of brush it under the carpet or forget about it because of whatever's going on in their lives. That as much as people try to talk about it, it's never got to this point where suddenly everyone is talking about it. So personally, I'm all for it. Protests that are going on, I completely support, and there's been loads of famous people and celebrities that out there spreading the message as well. I'd say the only one thing that I don't like is when people go there for the wrong reasons. So they go there to throw stuff, or they go there to deliberately harm police officers who are there to protect us. And that part of it really doesn't sit well with me, but completely support all the protests and everything.
To add to that point, actually, when I was at the protests, obviously it's quite liberating being at them, but there is also this underlying sort of feeling of anger towards any sort of authority that was there. So when we marched down from Parliament Square to Downing Street, there were people in the front row. Obviously, Downing Street is guarded by police officers, but like some hostility did break out. And although maybe some of the media wants to like decorate it as, like one thing happens that's violent and suddenly the whole protest is violent. It's not technically the case. Now, when I was there, I saw someone throw a water bottle at the police officer, just straight at them. And obviously, I don't condone that. None of us do. But neither did anyone in the crowd. Like, that one person kind of got pushed to the back a bit and told, why the fuck are you doing that? You're giving the media, you're giving everyone else a reason to say that these protests aren't productive, say that these protests are riots or could be riots. You know, one person, like a photographer could get one picture of someone throwing a water bottle at a police officer and suddenly it becomes headline news. Suddenly that's the focus of this very pressing issue. Another person was actually contemplating jumping over the fence that separated the police and the protesters, and he discussed it with the people around him, and they were just like, no. I mean, no one at these protests wants violence to happen, and it's just a shame that every now and again it does.
No, I fully agree with both of what you said. Like you said, Dan, I'm very uneducated with this sort of thing, but like the fact that racism is still a thing in this day of age, and how we haven't grown like away from racism is disgusting. And the fact that once again we had to add another person to the list of deaths for no reason from like police force, it's just wrong, and it's disgusting, and it's horrible to watch. Like, and it's not fair to, you know, it's not fair that we have to, because as a world and as like a human race, we have to stick together with these sort of things, like we did throughout the coronavirus. We all stuck together, and look how well we're doing now. And with this, what I rate a lot is that we're sticking together. We're all fighting for the same reason, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that it fucking pays off, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing another, for example, like another black guy getting killed, or another fucking, do you know what I'm saying? I'm so sick and tired of listening to this, and it's just so unfair. Like, there's like a little picture that someone sent to me. I'll read it out. I'll try and send it to you as well, Dan, so you can put it in the video. There's these two ladies holding up a sign, and one of them says, increasing the risk of the second wave of COVID-19. And then the other lady is holding a sign saying, decreasing the risk of the 450 wave of racism. And that's what everyone's worrying about. Don't get me wrong, I'm fucking shitting bricks if this coronavirus second wave happens. But if it means that we can stop this racism, and as a whole world, we move on from these stupid fucking situations that have happened, I'll sit indoors and I'll fucking wait out this coronavirus for years if I have to, if it means that racism finally ends. It's honestly, it winds me up. It's so disgusting, the fact that people do this, and the fact that I remember watching Tobe Jizzle, who's a fucking big YouTuber, right? So I watched KSI's video, and I watched Tobe Jizzle crying his fucking eyes out, bless him, because of situations that's happened to him in the past. I'm not just saying like, oh, it's not just him. This is every single young black adult that's grown up in this generation. And he said one of his brothers went to a country, right, and the locals had to tell him to be careful because they do not like black people in that thing. And the fact that that's a fucking thing in certain countries and certain places, the fact that they do not like a certain race, is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Everybody on this planet is equal. No one is different. We're all different individually, but skin, race, whatever, we are the exact same people, and we need to stop this bullshit, because like I've said so many times, I'm sick and tired of it now. It fucking winds me out every time thinking about it. And I'm all for this protest as well. I wish that I could go to it, but I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm
Actually,
not going to.
I mean, if anyone who lives in the Brighton area wants to go to a protest within Brighton, there is one being held on the 13th of June on Brighton Pier. So anyone who's willing to go outside and protest and make your stance on this known, join. Obviously, please wear masks, please bring hand sanitizer, and please social distance, because as much as this issue is very pressing, we want to also respect the guidelines of social distancing and whatnot. We don't want a second wave either. But no, exactly, George. I mean, it shouldn't be a thing at the end of the day, but unfortunately it is.
Imran, I want to ask you a quick personal question.
Yeah, go on.
Have you ever experienced any sort of racism?
Yeah, loads of times. I mean, similar to what George was saying with Toe Jizzles, it's not exactly racism, but my girlfriend's really afraid of taking me to America because she knows if I go in the wrong bit, or the wrong part, because her family's from the South, there's a very good likelihood that they're not going to like me there. No, they're not going to like the skin of, like the color of my skin, that at all. There have been cases within Brighton, although Brighton, I will always say, is a loving, loving place. There have been cases in which I've been walking down the street and someone who doesn't know me whatsoever, who walks past me, kind of, well, looks at me in a very odd way, and then I've had one case where they've shouted the N-word at me, which was actually on Gay Pride 2 years ago. My response, I kind of just laughed and said, "Have a good day," because it's I don't know, it's kind of, you get used to it. When I went to Spain, I was walking, having one of my midnight walks, and it was really lovely. And a similar case happened when someone called me the N word, but in Spanish, which is a nice change, I suppose. And then these two dudes that I walked past spat at me and called me a Negro. So, no, I mean, there have been cases. There always kind of will be. There'll always be people who don't like the color of my skin or don't like the things that I have or wish I was in a worse place. But I mean, I don't want it to happen. But when you grow up the color I am, I'm not trying to do it as like a little pity party or anything, but you realize that, all right, well, certain things are just going to be a little bit harder. Certain things are going to be a little bit harder to deal with because not everyone's going to be as open as your friends are. Not everyone's going to be as nice as you think they are. They will have those views. They will always have those views. You can try and change them, but chances are you won't do much. And you move on. You kind of learn that it shouldn't. I mean, you kind of learn that it can't bother you. You can't let it bother you. Otherwise, they've won. If I broke down crying, which after Spain I did. When someone spat at me, that was. I mean, I've been at points where it's been really hard. But if you show that weakness, if you show that it's really hurting you, then you've just basically confirmed what they wanted. They wanted to hurt you by calling you names and spitting on you and treating you like a dog. They wanted to make you feel shit. And so by crying, by looking like you're vulnerable, by looking like it's hurt you, you've basically just confirmed what they wanted. And that's something that you just don't do. Well, at least I try not to do. I try and just acknowledge it. If I'm having a good day, I try not to make it, let it hit me. And then in the private and comfort of my own friends or my own family or just by myself, I will dawn upon that. Sometimes I will cry. Sometimes it will hit me harder than others, but it's just as bad as it is and as it shouldn't be like that. It is what it is. You can't really
Shouldn't be that
it.
way, should it?
No, it shouldn't. But it is, and I don't think anyone wants it to be. Anyone that I know, it's the minority. it's the minority that speak the loudest. Like, I know that most people in this world aren't racist. I know that a lot of people are willing to get up and fight for people of color's rights, or like to end racism and all these different other things. But I also know that they aren't always the people that you kind of see. The people that affect you the most, the people that call you names, the people that do bad things to you, because they get to you. They're the one who scream the loudest. Although they might be in the minority, they're the one who scream the loudest, and they're the one who gets your attention the most. And it's easy to think that, all these people, all this subsection of people are racist or bad, but it's not the case. But yeah, that's my personal experience. I mean, I had a few when I was younger. I got told that I couldn't play in the playground games because I was a brownie, which I'm guessing now is a derogative term. I mean, to be fair, I don't blame the kids in primary school. They didn't know any better. Yeah, I mean, I've been called, pretty sure on nights out, I've been called a terrorist. Not in the fun way. I don't really care if there's the casual bit of racism toward, not racism, but making fun of me because I'm Indian. I can take a joke or two. But when someone doesn't know me and doesn't know me like my friends know me, then it gets to me a bit. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, that's my experiences. Can't say that they're much different to many others, but you live, you learn, and you get on with life.
I'm so sorry, man, that you had to experience that.
It's
and
not
what pisses me? No, of course not. I'm not saying sorry because I did it or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying sorry that you had to experience how disgusting some people on this planet are. The fact that I'm the same race as these people, I'm the same color. Sorry, makes me feel sick. And I hate it. I hate it so much. I was close to just tearing up, mate, because that's fucking disgusting what you've had to experience. And you should never have experienced that. But what I'm going to say is I'm fucking proud of you, Imran, because how you've come off with this and the advice that you've probably just given loads of people, hundreds, if not thousands of people, if they see this, you know what I'm saying, advice. Because the fact that you've had these experiences and you've shrugged them off, of course you've been upset about them, too right, mate, that's fucking bang out of order what they did. But the fact that you've come out of this as a stronger person and you can see now, okay, if I let them get to me, they've won. And that's exactly what they want. And like you said, you'll then be vulnerable and then more shit will happen to you. But the fact that you shrugged it off and was like, cool, you're a racist, but have a beautiful day and God bless you. So
sorry, Cameron, dude.
Fucking well done, mate. Like I said, I'm so sorry you had to experience that.
It's all right. I mean, when you grow up, you kind of just you know it's going to happen. It either happens to you first, where you're reminded of your skin color, or it happens to your parents, or it happens to someone that looks like you, and you kind of realize that all right, this is bound to happen to me at some point. So you expect it, you deal with it, and you move on. What do you guys make of the statues going down?
I agree. I mean, I haven't done research of the ones that have been taken down properly. I don't really understand what they did, but I knew that they were to do with slavery. And I say too right, get them down. And then there's this other one as well with the Winston Churchill statue, isn't there? There's so many people debating to take him down. And obviously I'm going to ask that once we've answered your question, but I'm really on the fence with that sort of thing because I really don't know because I can see both points of it. He helped us through World War II, but it doesn't justify the fact that he was racist. So it's really hard to say. But the other one's too fucking right. They shouldn't have been up in the first place. And you can see that the move is making an impact because they're able to do that sort of stuff. And the authorities and stuff are giving in and saying, yeah, too right. We agree with what you're doing there. I don't agree with the whole vandalising the Winston Churchill, the graffiti. I think that's not the protest. That's what I keep saying to people. I'm saying there's two different types of people in this protest. There's these horrible fuckers, mate, that are just opportunists, right? And then you've actually got people that are genuinely protesting for this move and are peaceful. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it can get very aggro and too right is they're fucking trying to express their point. You can't express a point happy. Sometimes you can, but sometimes you've got to put a bit of oomph behind it so people listen to you. yeah, so I don't agree with the whole vandalising, but I definitely agree with the statues that have been taken down so far. What about yourself, Dan?
It's very difficult because, like we've said, we're not the most educated people on this out there. So I think this is the main thing that everyone needs to understand, that they need to educate themselves on it, and I need to educate myself on it more, so that we can get a more understanding and fight with people with this. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really know what's going on in a way. If you look back in history, in terms of protests, the violent ones are the only ones really that made a difference. And as much as I hate the violent protests itself, history tells us that doing a peaceful one isn't going to get you the same results as doing a violent one. So I completely understand why people are doing it. I completely get that everyone's just going for it. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm probably not one to make a call on it. I don't really know.
I think the protest that started the gay pride sort of movement, and the reason why we have gay pride every year is because one, I can't remember her name, but there was a protest that turned violent because one black trans woman decided to throw a brick at the police, and that sparked somewhat of a riot, but it also helped towards getting LGBTQ sort of recognition in terms of expressing themselves. It led towards, although it might have been a violent start, it led towards us, towards the place that we are now, where we can openly celebrate being gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, queer, whatever it may be. It led to that point, and that was started by a black trans woman. And so I get that point. History has taught us that some protests do need to be violent. In saying that, you know, some protests do make progress being, you know, violent, there are cases in this sort of situation where looting has been more opportunistic than for the cause. I think all of us, I mean, everyone who's watching this should know, like, you know, Jake Paul and the scandal that he's gone through. Well, I mean,
he's in loads, isn't he? Every time.
Oh, he's in loads. But the one that we're going to highlight is him getting caught on video looting. Now what do we make of that?
Dipstick, plonker, idiot, all the words above. Like, one, there's no reason for him to be in the situation in the first place. If he wants to protest, he sticks with the protest. Two, he does it. It's not like he's lack of anything. He is very successful in what he's done. Somehow, I'm saying it now. He doesn't deserve where he wants to, where he should be. But that's another thing. Three, how big he is in America and in general on social media. Anyone's going to spot him, and anyone's going to be able to pick up and be like, "Oh shit, that's Jake Paul." And if they see him doing something, they're going to whack out a phone straight away, and boom, he's fucked it for himself. So one, like, do you know what I mean? There's no reason for him to do that. We discussed it yesterday when we were out. Imran, you made a good point. Maybe it's the excitement. But if you're getting excited about fucking looting shops when you know you shouldn't be, shouldn't be doing it, and it's illegal, then you're a fucking idiot. What's wrong with you? And the fact that we have Jake Paul and Logan Paul in the same family, and how different they've done in this situation is ridiculous. Like, you've got Jake Paul being an idiot, and then you've got Logan Paul saying one of the most powerful things I've ever watched to do with this move.
My biggest learnings from all of this, and I'm embarrassed that it's taken me 25 years to realize this. It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Yes.
Condemn those who feign superiority because of the color of their skin. Friends, hold friends accountable. Hold your family accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And most importantly, we must hold our authorities accountable. Police officers, politicians, policymakers. As Killer Mike said, bully the politicians at the voting booth. Mm-hmm. Make your voice heard. Attend a protest. Speak up against injustice. If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege. And for those who do not think white privilege exists, you are fucking blind. You are delusional and you are part of the problem. I can count on 0 hands the amount of times that I have feared for my life at a routine traffic stop. That has never happened. Half of the reason I'm able to get away with some of my hooligan shit I do in my vlogs is because I'm a white kid. I'm confident that I do not have to fear for my life should the cops show up. Acknowledge and weaponize your privilege. I believe we're going to a protest today. You can bet your fucking ass I'll be in the front line. Knowing all this about America, its racially charged background, its inability to truly treat humans as equals, even after 244 years since its inception, we must now work towards finding the solution. And if you are an influencer or a celebrity friend of mine, I hope you are using your platform to continue to spread the message of solidarity and unity. I do not have all the answers, but I know we must now reverse engineer the system as a collective. We must open our eyes and realize that there is only one race, and that is the human race. On behalf of Breonna Taylor, we must change. On behalf of Ahmaud Arbery, we must advance. And on behalf of George Floyd and the hundreds of others who have been unjustly murdered in this country, we must evolve.
On that note, we do want to emphasize our position on Black Lives Matter movement. We all here at the Unstructured Podcast, we all support the Black Lives Matter movement. Just having that hard conversation with some friends that you know can be loosely, casually sort of saying bad words or saying things that could be questionable. Even if it's just having a hard conversation with them, helping them understand why it's wrong or why we should eliminate this sort of casual racism, then it raises awareness. So yeah, from us at the Unstructured Podcast, we hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope that this has given you some insight in terms of our beliefs and at least my experiences of racism in the world.
If you are attending these protests, please stick to all the rules that have been in place. They're not just there just to fucking show you. They're actually in place to keep everyone safe. So if you are going to go to a protest, just be safe, do the requirements asked for, and if we all stick to this move will be even stronger than it is already. So let's make our point across, but let's do this the right way. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. With that, we will see you later.